Thank you for joining us on Studio G. My name is Kylie.
And I'm Jalen, so buckle up, grab some coffee, and dive into what's happening in Vegas. The Aliante Casino in North Las Vegas had a lot of commotion last week with the shooting on the casino floor. Around 5:30 a.m. on Thursday, North Las Vegas police responded to a shooting inside the building. Shots were fired and the victim was later identified as former Nevada State Senator Pat Spearman's son, Neonche Osborne. The suspect fired 6 more rounds at the victim as he was lying on the ground. Reporters say that handgun had a quoted extended magazine. It eventually turned into a car chase that ended at Sahara and Boulder Highway with the suspect booked into the North Las Vegas jail. Another court conclusion for the tragic murder of a 3-year-old also took place earlier this week. 41-year-old Marquetta Phillips was arrested, booked, and charged with open murder with a deadly weapon after stabbing a 3-year-old Journey Rost. The motive of the crime and her relationship to the father is still unknown at this time.
Last Thursday, police announced that they have arrested and charged 36-year-old Paul Hyun Kim for setting fire to several Tesla vehicles at Las Vegas repair facility earlier this month. Kim is facing several state and federal charges, including unlawful possession of an unregistered firearm, destroying property, discharging into a vehicle or structure, and arson. These charges follow an emergency call placed on March 18th about a person setting vehicles on fire and hearing gunshots at a Tesla collision business. Molotov cocktails and a .30 caliber AR firearm were used to damage and destroy 5 Tesla vehicles, and graffiti was sprayed to write "Resist" on the front of the building. In similar news, a fire at a Tesla dealership near Rome destroyed at least 17 Tesla cars. The fire is still being investigated, and Rome's fire service has not ruled out arson. This fire follows multiple reports of Tesla vehicles being vandalized with anti-Elon Musk and anti-Donald Trump sentiments written in spray paint. Nevada will now enforce a parental notification law for minors seeking an abortion after the state Supreme Court lifted a 40-year-old injunction blocking it. The law, first passed in 1985, mandates that at least one custodial parent must be notified 48 hours before a minor undergoes abortion, with the exception for married or emancipated minors, or in the case of a medical emergency such as an ectopic pregnancy. Planned Parenthood argued that the 1985 law, despite the reversal of Roe, remains unconstitutionally vague, and that it violates minors' rights to due process and equal protection. Abortion right groups argue that this could create barriers for vulnerable teens, while supporters say parents should be involved in such decisions. U.S. District Court Judge Ann Taram ruled that the new policy will take effect on April 30th. With this new ruling, Nevada joins over 30 other states with similar laws. Currently, 36 states require some form of parental notification for a physician to perform an abortion on a minor. Nevada's statute only requires a notification.
A brush fire that erupted at Clark County Wetlands Park on Monday has burned about 34 acres this week. The fire's forward progression has been stopped, but crews will remain on scene to address any lingering hot spots. As precaution, the 210-acre nature preserve and surrounding trails are closed. However, the Nature Center at 7500 Wetlands Park Lane will remain open with exhibits and a nature store. Multiple agencies, including Clark County Fire Department and Las Vegas Fire Rescue, have responded to the blaze. Officials say the fire is expected to be 90% contained by Tuesday evening, with full containment expected by Wednesday. The fire has been determined to be human-caused, and the Bureau of Land Management is investigating. Coming up, there are possible changes in the Nevada legislature. We'll break this down. Clark County School District students could only attend public schools near their homes. However, there might be a possible law change. Nevada lawmakers proposed a new bill called AB 533 that would allow children to go to any school that has room through a lottery system. Parents would have to apply first, and if they're denied, there would be a process where they could appeal the decision. On April 1st, CCSD provided public comment in the Assembly Committee on Education hearing.
This bill presents an incredible opportunity to ensure that more kids have more resources to access an education that meets their needs and gives them their best chance at a bright, thriving future. AB 533 gives families the agency in their students' educational experience, while directly remedying long-term systemic issues stemming from a student's address being a sole deciding factor in where they go to school.
The spokesperson stated that families use open enrollment to attend higher-rated schools, affordable education, and creates lifelong opportunities for their children. Las Vegas local, a mother of 2 children, shares her thoughts for this bill.
Well, with that, I actually like that idea because I'm even with my son now, like he's about to start kindergarten and I have to do the lottery anyway to want like maybe go to a charter school. So if that system is implemented like everywhere, so that way I'm just not like attached to going to the school in my zone.
TCSD is against the bill but still has support among Democrats, Republicans, and the business community. For more updates, make sure to keep watching as the story develops.
Nevada is considering a permanent end to changing the clocks. Assembly Bill 81, introduced by L.A. Ruhatch, would put the state on standard time after this November's fallback. Supporters say it would improve public health by reducing strokes, heart attacks, and traffic accidents. The bill has backing from the medical groups, but some experts have raised concerns about crime rates. Unlike past efforts, this bill doesn't need federal approval or coordination with other states. Lawmakers must vote by April 22nd to move it forward. The UNLV bookstore is currently having a clearance sale. The bookstore is having their end-of-season price break, 50% off select apparel at the bookstore. Come early for the best selection and sizes. I've been meaning to get some Rebel merch myself.
Me too, especially while it's 50% off right now.
Coming up next, we will discuss the group chat leak.
Plus, before you buy that next box of Girl Scout cookies, you might want to check what's inside. More about the cookie controversy after the break.
Thousands of people are hospitalized by the flu, a virus that is easily preventable through vaccination. The virus transmits through any close contact, so getting your shot is the first step in stopping the spread. The more people that get the vaccine, the less likely it becomes for you to contract and infect others with the virus. With flu season in full effect, there is never a better time than now to get your flu shot. Talk to your local doctor, pharmacy, or visit the CDC website at www.cdc.gov for more information. Do your part to stop the spread of the flu and schedule your flu vaccination today.
Every 7 minutes, a pedestrian is killed or injured due to impatient and reckless driving and careless walking. For everyone's safety, don't be reckless. Watch the road.
In today's world, getting to know your neighbors isn't just about being friendly, it's about keeping your community safe. Building strong connections with those around you creates an extra layer of security. Neighbors who know each other can help prevent intruders by noticing when something seems off. And when natural disasters strike or emergencies arise, those same connections can make all the difference. Getting to know your neighbors isn't just about community, it's about safety and support. Take some time today to get to know your neighbors. You never know when you might need each other.
Welcome back to Studio G.
Let's jump right into the national news. Trump shocked Americans, saying that he would be interested in running for a 3rd term. Here is reporter Fatima with more.
There have been some speculations of people mentioning that they would like President Trump to run for a 3rd term, although the 22nd Amendment does limit the amount of times a person can be elected for president to only 2 terms.
If you were allowed, for some reason, to run for a 3rd term, is there a thought that the Democrats could try to run Barack Obama against you?
I'd love that.
For his 3rd term?
Oh, I'd love that. That would be a good one. I'd like that. No, people are asking me to run, and there's a whole story about running for a 3rd term. I don't know. I never looked into it. They do say there's a way you can do it.
It has been mentioned that if President Trump should be allowed to run for a 3rd term, then it would only be fair if our former President Obama should be allowed to run for a 3rd term as well.
President Donald Trump announced a sweeping new tariff policy yesterday that will impose a 10% baseline on tariff on all imported goods, with some products facing even higher rates, which President Trump declared April 2nd as Liberation Day. This is what he had to say.
This is one of the most important days, in my opinion, in American history. It's our declaration of economic independence. For years, hardworking American citizens were forced to sit on the sidelines as other nations got rich and powerful, much of it at our expense. But now it's our turn to prosper.
The policy includes a 25% tariff on foreign-made automobiles starting at midnight on April 3rd. The administration says revenue from tariffs will go toward tax cuts and reducing national debt. Economists and trade experts have raised concerns about the potential for increased consumer prices and the likelihood of retaliatory measures from affected countries. But not everyone is on board. International leaders, including Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, are already pushing back, warning of potential retaliation. Economists caution the move could spark trade conflicts and higher consumer prices. In a historic Senate session, New Jersey Senator Cory Booker delivered a marathon 25-hour and a 4-minute speech, setting a new record for the longest continuous address in Senate history. Beginning at 7 p.m. on March 31st, on concluding just after 8 p.m. the next day, the New Jersey senator vowing to speak for as long as I am officially able. Booker surpassed the 1957 record held by Storm Thurmond. Throughout his speech, Booker criticized the Trump administration's policy on immigration, education, and the economy, emphasizing their impact on everyday Americans. He read letters from constituents and echoed civil rights leaders, including the late John Lewis, urging citizens to get in good trouble.
Lost elections. There was a noble contest in this country for whose ideas, vision, communication, and we lost. We lost the Senate, we lost the House. We're a fractured party. But I'm hoping everybody, including people who just want a better country, take a hard look in the mirror and say, how did we end up here?
This speech gained national attention, drawing over 115,000 YouTube viewers and racking up more than 350 million TikTok likes.
Luigi Mangione is still stirring things up across the country with his case currently in New York State Court. And on the other coast, a new California bill is being proposed in his honor. The Justice Department is seeking the death penalty for Luigi Mangione, accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in December. Mangione is facing multiple charges and is currently in federal custody. In California, a new proposed bill aims to make it illegal for insurance companies to delay, deny, or modify medical procedures or medications prescribed by a doctor. The initiative would require that only physicians, not other employees, can make such decisions. It would also make insurance delays a felony unless insurers can prove the procedure is unnecessary. The proposal is currently under review with a public comment period running until April 25th. In other federal court news, Democratic attorney generals in 23 states, including Nevada Attorney General Aaron Ford, are suing the Trump administration over the rollback of $12 billion in public health funding. The lawsuit against the Department of Health and Human Services and Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. alleges the rollback was unlawful and harmful. The suit seeks to immediately halt all funding cuts, saying the cuts will lead to key public health services being discontinued and thousands of healthcare workers losing their jobs. The CDC pulled back about $11.4 billion allocated to state and community health departments. The suit alleges another billion was removed from the Substance and Abuse Mental Health Service Administration. Nevada Attorney General Ford claims that the termination of grants is illegal and would cause local public health authorities and Nevada State Public Health Laboratory to lose $35 million. The funding cut also would impact the renowned Crisis Stabilization Center in northern Nevada.
The Trump administration immigration and border policies have led to arrests and detainments at U.S. airports. Canada, Denmark, Finland, and several other countries have issued U.S. travel advisories, and foreign travel to the U.S. is predicted to experience a decline. Customs and Borders Protection, or CBP, have stated that they are all simply enforcing immigration laws, but strict requirements have led to the detainment of tourist and valid green card holders. Countries including Germany and the United Kingdom issued advisories after several of their citizens had been detained over minor infractions. Even immigrants with U.S. citizenships are advised not to travel to their home countries for fear of being unable to return to the states. The most recent concern, however, has been over gender identification in U.S. paperwork. Foreign countries are cautioning transgender citizens, stating that U.S. authorities may refuse entry to those with different gender marker than that assigned at birth. The U.S. still remains a desired travel destination, but whether advisories will heavily impact tourism in the long term still remains to be seen. In the meantime, protests have erupted around the world against the U.S. government. Canadians and Europeans are boycotting American goods, and for marches for democracy continue globally. This past Saturday, demonstrations were held in front of Tesla dealerships, protesting Elon Musk's involvement in government affairs.
So like this is the next closest thing.
We don't think that Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, should be in charge of doing things like that.
Tesla shares have dropped in recent weeks, but the instability surrounding U.S. global relations continued to be monitored.
ICE deportations have continued across the nation, where many cases have been scrutinized for not giving the proper due process. Reporter Evan Carroll has more.
Catastrophe struck a Maryland family a few weeks ago as resident and father Kilmar Abrego Garcia was deported to El Salvador as ICE deportations continue around the country. This came as a surprise, seeing as Garcia held protected legal status to be in the country, something that the Trump administration seemingly missed. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt communicated the position that the White House holds in a hearing on Tuesday.
First of all, the error that you are referring to was a clerical error. It was an administrative error. The administration maintains the position that this individual who was deported to El Salvador and will not be returning to our country was a member of the brutal and vicious MS-13 gang. That is fact number one.
She solidified their position, saying
that if you just saw the headline from the insane failing Atlantic magazine this morning, you would think this individual was Father of the Year, living in Maryland, living a peaceful life, when that couldn't be further from the truth.
Garcia's lawyer, Simon Sandoval-Moschenberg, was quick to refute these claims.
We absolutely dispute that. The gang allegations against him all stem from a confidential informant, one of these anonymous tips. That never really materialized. There was no concrete evidence against him.
He continued to scrutinize the Trump administration, saying they avoided using the correct channels to deport Garcia.
First of all, if they thought he committed a crime, they could arrest him and try to convict him of that crime. Second of all, if they thought he was deportable on the basis of his gang membership, they could have brought charges in the immigration court. They did none of those things. They just stuck him on a plane. And now there's no ability to, have a case heard by an immigration court because they short-circuited the whole legal process.
The case is still ongoing as Garcia has filed a motion to sue U.S. officials following his deportation.
This comes in a wave of administrative decisions that have left many confused and uneasy of what the future holds. Another similar situation was the recent Signal group chat leak. The group chat fiasco, now amply named Signalgate, is continued to unfold as Trump refuses to punish the officials involved. The Guardian says this is because it would be a tacit administration of fault and seen as handing a victory to the Atlantic magazine. The president has also committed to spinning this story as a fault of the media rather than a lapse in judgment from his cabinet. An outside advisor consulted by the White House said that President Trump instructed his team to attack the Atlantic in order to not produce a scalp by firing or punishing the members of the group chat. The situation seems to have no end in sight, as many people argue that something like this can't just be glossed over.
Coming up next, there will be another TikTok bang on the arrival, and that more after the break.
Drunk driving is more than just a fine. It's lives lost, someone's family member gone, and futures ruined. One choice can lead to a lifetime of regret. Are you willing to pay that price and ruin someone's life? If you drink, find a safe way home. Look out for others, because no amount of fun is worth losing a life.
In today's world, getting to know your neighbors isn't just about being friendly, it's about keeping your community safe. Building strong connections with those around you creates an extra layer of security. Neighbors who know each other can help prevent intruders by noticing when something seems off. And when natural disasters strike or emergencies arise, those same connections can make all the difference. Getting to know your neighbors isn't just about community, it's about safety and support. Take some time today to get to know your neighbors. You never know when you might need each other.
The world is predicted to generate at least 220 million tons of plastic waste in the year of 2024. 70 million tons are predicted to end up in our environment. It's not hard to do. Recycle.
Welcome back to Studio G.
Before we start an entertainment portion, let's get into the NCAA Final Four me. The men's Final Four is heating up as 4 of the top teams fight for a chance at the championships. Here's Blake Lee with more.
San Antonio. This marks a little bit of history as the last time all 4 number 1 seeds reached the Final Four was back in 2008 in San Antonio. The doubleheader, which includes a matchup between SEC foes of Florida versus Auburn, and in a night capture, Houston versus Duke on Saturday night. All 4 coaches are seeking to get their first championship win with their program, but only one will be crowned a winner. It should be a great run and a good one Saturday night.
Thanks for that, Fork.
We're going to jump right into the women's portion of the WNBA. For more sports news, both on and off campus, you can also catch Rebel Report at 1:30.
On the women's side, the stage is set for an electric Final Four as the top teams in women's college basketball have punched their tickets to Tampa. Here's reporter Emma Rosenstein with a cap of the Women's Elite Eight.
The journey to the Final Four was not an easy one, starting with the defending champ South Carolina and their gritty 54-50 victory against 2-seeded Duke. Despite being out-rebounded, standout performances from Chloe Kitts and Sanaya Fagan propelled the Gamecocks. Tahina Paopao also stepped up, adding 8 second-half points without a turnover in sight. South Carolina now turns its attention to Texas as they chase another national title. Speaking of Texas, the Longhorns are making their first Final Four appearance since 2003 after a 58-47 win over TCU. Madison Booker led the charge, scoring 18 points and grabbing 6 rebounds, including a clutch fadeaway jumper with just 2 minutes left in the game. Booker, along with Rory Harmon, helped Texas push their lead to 14 in the fourth quarter. TCU's historic season came to an end as star guard Haley Van Lith struggled to find her rhythm. Meanwhile, UCLA made history, securing its first ever Final Four appearance with a 72-65 win over LSU. Despite foul trouble for 6'7" All-American Lauren Betts, UCLA's deep roster, including stars like Kiki Rice and Gabriela Jaquez, delivered. Fan favorite UConn, after a third quarter scare, took control and defeated USC 76-64. Paige Beckers led the way with 31 points, while freshman Sarah Strong added 22 points and 17 rebounds. With the win, UConn advances to its 24th Final Four in program history. The Final Four action begins on April 4th, which is tomorrow in Tampa, Florida. Make sure to check your local listings and tune in.
Will be on ESPN at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now let's jump into the weather.
All right, welcome back. It's going to be 61. It's a little partly cloudy, mostly around the edges of the valley. There is a chance of rain, but I'm going to get into that in the 7-day forecast. Moving forward, our valley temperatures. It's a lot of the same around most of the valley. There's not much variation besides Anthem, Summerlin. That's pretty much it. Everything is around high 50s, low 60s. Moving up, we're going to have the expected high temperature of 61 at about 1 o'clock, so it's not going to get much warmer today. If you have a jacket, I would suggest to keep it on. Moving forward to our sunset time, it's at 7:05. If you remember, a couple weeks ago, last time I was here, it was around 5:30, and I said it was going to inch closer to that 8 o'clock time. We're getting closer. So moving forward to our 7-day forecast, like I said, there's a slight chance of rain today, but it's around the outside of the valley, so there's not much that you can worry about. Friday, it's going to be a little windy, some gusts, but nothing too bad. Saturday is going to be super nice, same with Sunday. You're going to want to get outside, enjoy the weather, try and soak up the sun before it starts to burn you. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is when the weather is really going to start to heat up, and it's going to get a lot more into shorts weather, short sleeve shirts, that type of thing. Moving forward, we have our allergy forecast. So for the next 4 or 5 days, it's going to be pretty bad. You're going to want to keep the allergy pills on standby, but then as you get closer to the weekend and next week, it's going to even out just a little bit. So that's going to do it for our weather forecast for this week. I am Evan Carroll. Thank you so much.
Thanks for that forecast, Evan. Now entering onto entertainment. A highly anticipated movie, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, is set to release on June 4th, 2027. Sony Pictures shared first look images of Beyond the Spider-Verse at CinemaCon this last week. The images features characters such as Miles, Gwen, and the Prowler. Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse is the third installment in the Spider-Verse trilogy, produced by Columbia Pictures, Marvel Entertainment, and distributed by Sony Pictures. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was originally set for March 2024 release, but due to the complex animation and the SAG-AFTRA and Writers Guild strikes, Sony decided to push the release date. The third installment of the Now You See Me film series, titled Now You See Me Now, Now You Don't, is scheduled to release on November 14th this year. Lionsgate announced the release date at CinemaCon this last Tuesday, alongside news of a fourth film in the works for the Now You See Me movies. The film will feature a returning cast of actors and actresses alongside new faces such as Ariana Greenblatt and Rosamund Pike. Big news for the Minecraft fans today. Check out this information on the new movie.
The Minecraft movie is being released today, April 4th, and Gen Z is particularly excited because of their childhoods with Minecraft, growing up playing the game. The movie features Jason Momoa, Jack Black, Jennifer Coolidge, and Emma Myers. Minecraft originally became a game in 2009, so 15 years ago. It is the best-selling video game of all time, with over 300 million copies sold, and still having 170 million monthly active players as of 2024. The Minecraft movie's budget was $150 million, the highest ever movie budget for a movie about a video game. Because of the movie, there is a new update on the Minecraft game. There is also Minecraft merch being sold at movie theaters. Journalists predict the movie to be a commercial winner for Warner Bros. And movie theaters.
The theaters will be pumping this week. Lots of good options if you're looking out for a night out.
It's the beginning of April, which means Monthly Events is coming back to Vegas, First Friday. First Friday, Las Vegas is happening tomorrow night, starting at 5 o'clock p.m. until 11 o'clock p.m. This free admission event features live music, art exhibits, food trucks, and vendors. It's located in Art Square in downtown Las Vegas. They offer a free shuttle from the City of Las Vegas parking garage to the event from 3 to midnight. This event happens the first of every month, first Friday of every month. That definitely looks like a fun time.
Yeah, First Friday is always a great event to look forward to, a great way to ring in the new month and to signal that the weekend is here.
Thank you for joining us today on Studio G. This has been Kylie Pierce.
And I'm Jalen DeLos Reyes. We'll see you next week.